Today, I think I'm going to try to do a what they call a no show 'em, which is kind of cool. I think it's supposed to be a dry fly, but I'm going to do it on a curved hook because I like the way that looks better. And I'm going to do it with my black cheap frayed thread, even though it's, you know, kind of bad thread. But I want it to look more like a natural insect, you know, so that's what I'm going to do. And I did change the positioning of how I'm tying it in the camera to try to be more comfortable and give a better look for the video. So, but I'm going to use a size 16 curved. It's technically a curved nymph scud pupa micro barbed hook, but I do believe it'll work as a dry fly. So I'm going to go ahead and use it anyway. And it doesn't have a bead, but it is one of the small hooks. So it's about to storm here, so if you hear any rumbling in the background, that's what it is. It's thunder. But what I'm going to need for tying the no show 'em pattern is just my black thread, a grizzly hackle or some kind of hackle, and a hook, and my head cement. But there's my grizzly hackle, and here's my thread. And as always, I'm going to start it by putting it. But for this pattern, I'm going to take it up to the eye of the hook and wrap it back on itself to get it started. I'm going to take it all the way back down the shank of the hook, and then all the way back up the shank of the hook back to the eye of the hook. This pattern doesn't have anything coming out of the back of it, like any goose bites or anything like that. It's a very sleek and slender pattern. To about, oh, I let it loosen up on me. You want to keep your line tight, your thread tight as you're wrapping it around your hook, so you don't have to back it off and do it again. But I've got it wrapped up to about the head of the eye of the hook. And then I'm going to take it back about a third of the way down the hook so I can attach my grizzly hackle. Then I'm going to wrap my grizzly hackle around, and you want to try to keep it tight, but wrap it forward toward the eye of the hook. My grizzly hackle snapped off, so I got to back it off and do that again. Actually, I think I'm going to switch it up and do a brown, soft brown hackle. Brown saddle hackle off of a female, off of a hen. It seems to be a tougher hackle anyway, and it doesn't break as easy. So, just like the grizzly hackle, I'm going to tie this brown hackle in right here about a third of the way down the pattern. Snip off the excess. I'm going to try to get as much of the excess off as you can and not leave all the extra frays around. You can always snip it off later, but I just like it to be clean and uniform myself. But I don't like to snip any extra because you always take a chance at cutting your thread that is tied on the fly. So it's always risky the more you have to snip off. But I'm going to wrap it as tight as I possibly can, but wrap it forward. And this is the way I do it. Other people probably do it different, but this is how I do it. You want to get enough of the hackle up top to where it does have some texture to it, some meat to it. And I gotta block the view with my hand quite a bit right here to do what I have to do. That's where I'm going to end the amount of hackle I'm putting on and tie off the hackle snip off the excess of it. And be careful not to crowd your hook here, your hook eye, because you want to be able to get your tippet in it to be able to fish it. Once you got that done, I'm going to build up a little head here to hold that hackle down right behind the eye of the hook. And then you can see all of the hackle is pushed back toward the back of the hook. I'm going to take my fingers and pinch it up here and try to get as much of it as I possibly can up in my fingers. And then I'm going to run a line, run the thread up behind the hackle to hold it all up on top of the fly. And that's creating what looks like a wing pattern of the bug to the fish below anyway. And you want to do that in kind of like a back and forth tie, where you go in front of the hackle and then behind it, and you want to try to get it tight together. Me anyway, that's how I want to do it. And I haven't tried putting a line around the hackle feathers itself, like doing a circle around the bottom of it, the base of it. I may try that in a future tie on a no-show, but not on this one, because I don't want to mess this one up, because I'm doing this for a video. But now that I've got that tied up there, I can go ahead and snip off my excess. And anytime I've got little furs or hackle sticking out of from under the very front, it doesn't bother me much, because it makes me think of like antennas of a bug, which is kind of cool to me, because you want it to resemble insects, you know. Other people it may bother, but me, I kind of like it. And to be honest with you, I think the fish would like it too. They said when you put it that way. Alright, and now I've got my pattern basically tied. Just let me do some whip finishes. One, two, three, 4, and 5. And then up, down. Yeah, every time lately, I don't know why that does that. It's just cheap thread, you know. So let me do that again. Alright, so let me tie it back on. And snip on the excess. Get some decent wraps, and it's okay to build up a little extra head right there. It is an insect, you know. And then pull out another line for my whip finish. So I've already done 5 whip finishes. I'm going to go ahead and add an extra 3 to make it 8. 2, 3, and up, down, and out. And for me, I don't mind if my thread breaks, to just tie it back on and secure it and keep going. Some people may tell you to start over. I think that's a waste of materials and time, because you can save that, because obviously I just saved that one. So, and I hit a dab of head cement to secure it and put it in the clamps. And that's a little no-show. Let me give you an up-close look at it in the camera. But that's it right there. That is a little no-show pattern. It does sink though sometimes, but with floating on it and the tippet tied to it, because the tippet does float, it should float really well. But that is called a no-show, and that is a size 16 hook.